What's up, everybody? Welcome back to DFW Metal Mayhem, the most brutal podcast in the Metroplex. And, okay, at this point, we're there, right? Like you know, another heavy metal podcast in this area that's not like on a big, nice studio, grand scale. Because, I mean, being on that grand scale is not metal. Doing shit out of your house in ghetto style. Selling out, exactly. Just like a black metal band, they sell like 15 albums, right? Yep, exactly. Yep. Speaking of that, we are here with the mighty Coffin Hoarder. And you're like, wait, it's just one guy. Duh, it is one guy. This is a one-man show. How are you, man?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome, dude. It's an esteemed pleasure to have you here. And the thing is like, I was thinking about it this morning, like, because like running a band is hard, okay? Because you got to deal with other people. You know, they can be late, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's hard to get shit to roll together, to like, you know, get together, make songs, etc. It can be quite a challenge. But goddamn, you do it by yourself. Like, and you've been doing this since like 1999. I was like 5. I was 5.
Yeah, it's a funny story. You know, it's like I've always recorded stuff out of my house. You know, when I was in high school, I guess then in '99. I just had a 4-track tape machine, and I experimented a lot more with noise. Like, it didn't always really sound like. So I mean, I did some black metal stuff. You know, some of it's I have the codex that's on my Bandcamp and stuff. It has some of that stuff on there, where it's just me playing direct into the 4-track recorder, and had a keyboard, and you know, just doing the blast beats like this, you know, and then screaming, you know. And then, but the rest of it, just avant-garde, like noise, samples, and just harsh noise and things like that. But it wasn't, you know, I didn't call it Coffin Hoarder back then. I only started recently calling it that, you know.
Yeah, it's just more recent. So why don't you just give us like the full history, just take us back, like Hal Wagner 101.
Well, you know, I guess in high school, you know, there was. You know, I really started getting the guitar really heavy, and you know, of course, you know, there was all the thrash bands and stuff. You know, it was the '90s. You know, Metallica had just fucked up with Load. You know, so you know, so it was still kind of like that one album. You know, and we were all into it. But you know, I'm really young. I guess that was my introduction. You know, and then but soon after that, you know, I started listening to. Morbid Angel and stuff, and everything else was just inferior, and you know, Morbid Angel, and then Emperor, and I started reading, you know, they had, you'd go to the grocery store and stuff, because, you know, I didn't have internet, you know, back then, not a lot of people did, and that was like really where you heard about all this stuff was Metal Maniacs magazine and Metal Edge and stuff, and you would see Cradle of Filth, and like Burzum would be buried deep in there, and you know, and then you just go to the record store and hope they have these things so you can hear them, you know, because you see it, you know. So, and, but yeah, and I guess I kind of got into industrial music around the same time, you know, Ministry and Skinny Puppy and stuff, and then some Doom, you know, like My Dying Bride and Typo Negative and all of those things. But yeah, so I just was recording, and I tried to form little bands and everything, but mainly just always had this project going, recording, and then you know, I guess it's about 2000 and 2002 or so, when I formed a band with my wife's brother, Billy, and we started playing shows locally. And we were called As She Dies, and we played. We for a while, like, we had a gig like every single week and stuff, playing at you know, I guess it was like Lone Star Country Club, and you know, we played with there's a band called Jackknife.
I've heard of them too. Yeah, my mom talked about.
Yeah, we played with them, and Dryline, and all these people. And, you know, and then that split, and then drummer Corey, you know, he went on to this band called Short Life Crisis, which became Hopeless Feldus. And I joined that, you know, John Parker and, you know, Matt.
Yeah.
And you know, Drew King, and Paul Davis was the bass player before that, you know, but yeah, so we did that, and you know, and the whole time, you know, I would record and everything on my own, but that wasn't really, you know, priority, because I was doing Hopeless Fellas a lot, and you know, we had some really big shows and everything. It was great, you know, and that's where I met, you know, Justin Mills. And stuff. He did a lot of booking for us and everything, and but you know, then that kind of, I don't ever like to say Hopeless Fellas disbanded, because you know, there's always a chance that, you know, we'll do it again. You know, it just we're waiting for it to line up, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then after that, you know, I wasn't doing anything, and then I just started, you know, recording stuff again and getting kind of back in touch with, you know, like my earlier influences through, you know, black metal and more ambient things and doom, and you know, I do a bunch of other recording stuff too. I mean, I even mess with like some psychedelic rock stuff too, you know, because a lot of my roots in that, you know, when I was a kid, was growing up listening to Jimi Hendrix and The Doors and you know, Jefferson Airplane, 13th Floor Elevators, you know, Texas, you know, my mom had a lot of those records, and but so anyways, I started doing it again, and did some black metal, and then I did some grind, and that's how I started playing the shows, was actually off of this grind thing that I did, and with Evan, you know, Cotner from Skeleteria, and you know, and then it was just funny how it happened, because like I just did that show for fun, and I mean I still do every show for fun, you know, but it just kind of kept going from there, you know. I was playing at a taqueria, and then, you know, I started getting invited out, and I got to open up for Fuck the Facts, which I'd opened for them in my old band and everything, and then it's just been, you know, steady since then, you know, with some shows here and there, and doing it by myself, you know. I just never, I don't know, people have asked me to, you know, why don't you get a drummer and do all this? It's like, mainly time, I suppose. You know?
Because I've asked you before, like, man, have you ever thought, like, to, like, expand Coffin Hoarder to other people, like, bring in other people? And that's answer you've always given me was, like, yeah, it's just, you know, time. Because, like, you're also, like, a father, and, you know, work, and, like, just like any other ordinary dude here in the scene, you know what I mean? So, we all have our cut downs and ties, but shit, dude, one-man band, father, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, I feel sometimes like I'm overloading my plate, and all I do is just podcast the band and like making sure I go to the dojo for like regular training and shit in my job. But damn, dude, like that makes me feel like, God, Billy, quit fucking complaining about little shit. But because personally, the first time I saw you, I don't know if this was Levyon's first time seeing you, but my first time seeing you was at the Metal Fest, actually, at Reno.
I had seen him once before, but
Yeah. And I remember because it was you, Wormchasm, Silvertongue played that night, and then after that was some weird space rock stoner band.
it was that Friday, right? Or was it Saturday?
It was Saturday. Because I was not at Reno's at all Friday.
That's right.
But I do remember, I remember that night because it was when we were supposed to go see War Ensemble. We didn't go see War Ensemble because,
Yeah. Billy wanted to go to the titty bar.
Yeah, boy. I was really fucking drunk. I'd never been to a titty bar, so I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
Slayer, titties.
Yeah, because some ladies from the clubhouse came by and they're handing out tickets, and he was just like, whoa, guys, I really want to go see her, and she's going to be there. So yeah, we missed them because of movies. So
hey, y'all were pretty fucking giddy about it too, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But no, and I remember like seeing you up on stage before, and I'm like, where's his other bandmates? And I'm talking to Mickey. I'm like, this dude, like, I feel bad for him, man. He's like, none of his other buddies are here, and he's about to go on and play. And then he starts playing. I'm like, what? Wait, who's drumming? Because I was pretty drunk at this point. Like, who's drumming? And then Nick's like, dude, are you stupid? It's like, and I pointed to like the machine. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, well, because there's been a couple other one-man things. Because Crawl is another band that I've seen that it's just a dude with drums. And he has other stuff going on. He has lights. It's a really interesting presentation.
Calling you out. Come on the show. Right?
I'm not sure where he's located out of.
Oh yeah, did you say like lights and shit all over his drums? That's
It was
cool.
really cool. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that sounded cool.
Yeah, I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, it was. I've seen him a couple times. But you know, so when I saw you up there and I saw you, you know, doing different tracks and stuff, I was like, I wonder if he's just a single guy up there. And so you know, when we saw him, we were like, oh, okay, yeah.
And see, that's the thing I kind of like about like I guess I don't know. I don't like to say that part of the scene, but that part of the scene because like you know like the more doom and like dark stuff is like. The bands in that area are like some of like the most unique bands we have in the local scene. Like that one band where it was a fucking tuba player.
No, he was a saxophone player.
Are you talking about a Blackcaster?
Yes.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, Jareth. They're really good guys, man. I might actually, I don't know, a couple of weeks that we had talked about, I was actually going to go do vocals for their other project.
Oh my god.
But I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen, but we'll see.
Dude, that'd be cool as fuck. And then later that in that same show we saw them on was this seven man doom metal band. Like they literally had no room to walk on stage. Because they're playing at Reno's.
Which
like,
band is that?
I'm not sure. There's like 3 guitar players though. It's like 3 guitar players. I believe one of the guitarists was the singer, or was it the bass player that was the singer? And then the other singer was the keyboardist. And like the keyboardist had the really high screams, and then the other had the really low screams. So.
I'm trying to remember. Was that at the Metal Fest?
That was not the Metal Fest. That was at the Isles of Winter.
Oh, the Eye of the Winter. Oh, that was
the same night we saw.
Oh crap. He's in Vault Dweller and Wild Speaker. He does bass. Crap, I forgot what the name of that band is.
Oh, good. Don't worry.
But yeah.
But yeah, no. But like, it's just like, you know, I guess like Sparrows too, because Sparrows is like a black metal band that like really pushes like melody, and like you don't see that a lot.
I really like Wormchasm, you know, Steven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me and him go way back. We actually grew up in the same town.
Oh, really? Okay.
Shit.
We had, you know, we jammed together a few times and stuff back in the day. Hey, Steven, love you, man. And but yeah, that band really has a lot going for it, and
They do.
You know, and well, we're actually playing a show with Amorphous.
Yep, they're ready for Amorphous next Saturday.
And so everybody head out to that, man, and for sure.
Yeah, because for me, Steven's previous band, names are avoiding me right now.
The one with Jason, right?
Vitality.
Yeah, Runes of the Evening.
Reigns of the Evening.
No, not Vitality. I was wishing he would bring up Vitality again, but he said no.
Yeah.
But Runes of the Evening, because that's what got me into the local scene. You know, I was going to see his shows, and then, you know, expanded from there. And so then when he started up Wormchasm, I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. You know, let's.
Wormchasm was the first band to get me into black metal, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good guys.
Because they played the very first show I went to in the local scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back last year in like March,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still in a fucking leg cast.
Yeah.
And I was like, got really fucked up and drunk, and I didn't want to get that fucked up. Like, oh my god, help me! The entire city is spinning on its ass, and I'm going to die.
Right.
That's what it had. That's what it felt like. And now it's just a regular thing when I go out now to shows.
Just get shit faced.
Yeah. I'm just not gonna do it at. No, I'm not gonna say this. I'm not gonna do it at my show, but
You might.
it's probably gonna happen. Not during.
Try to hold off until you're done playing.
No, yeah, of course, of course. But one thing I wanted to ask you, man, because you know, doing it alone, you know, like, have you noticed like pros and cons with like a one-man show
For sure.
versus
For
just
sure.
a band?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't think I ever really intentionally meant to play shows first of all. So
Yeah.
you know, it's just I write the songs and you know, play at the house. So I mean, it's just trying to figure out what's going to work live, you know, and so yeah, I do that, and you know, and you always have the people that aren't gonna get it. Like they're just used to seeing a live band up there, and you know, so I mean, it's kind of I don't want to say it's just disheartening because I would do it anyways. I don't care, but I just think it's funny because sometimes you look out in the crowd and there's always those like 4 people over there in the corner that are just in there, you know, fucking shit, shaking their head, you know. Which
Yeah.
I think is funny. The pros, I mean, I guess it stands out. You know, people see it and you know they're like, wow, like, you know,
Yeah.
like what you're saying. It's like, wow, you're doing it all by yourself, and you know, it's like, how do you do the drums and all of those things, you know. You know, and there's certain things like that's, you know, I have certain things I would like to do live that, you know, you're pretty limited. What, you know, I mean, I guess as far as, you know, tonality of the drums and stuff. I mean, because if you had a really great rig set up to where it's just like pushing a lot hard, maybe I could do it. But you know, so there are some limitations. But maybe one day I don't know. But yeah, so like everything, yeah, pros and cons to it. But I enjoy. I've gotten to where I kind of enjoy doing it alone, and it just kind of makes it what it is, you know.
Yeah. Now, and now that brings home the question, like, how do you stay motivated to keep running it by yourself? Because I feel like motivation for a one-man project would probably demand a little bit more motivation and determination than a band.
I don't know. To me, music is always a funny thing. I don't, you know, it kind of ebbs and flows. You know, sometimes I really want to do it, sometimes I don't, but then it gets to the point where I just have to do it. It's like a compulsive thing. It's an obsessive compulsive thing of mine. It's not, you know, I would be doing this, you know, if nobody was listening. Like before, you know, I was just making tapes and then decided to, you know, kind of put them out there because I wasn't doing anything, and just out of boredom, and you know, the internet came along and you have Bandcamp and it's like you can put it out there now, you know, and so why not, you know, so I don't know if it's a matter of motivation or just necessity for own sanity, exercising those inner demons, you know. You know, I don't know, the things that motivate me, I don't know, it's just a dark imagination. I spent a lot of my time, I grew up next to this cemetery, and I just kind of have always gone there, I guess, throughout my life. It's just down the street from my house, and you know, I just go contemplate life and death, and you know, I guess that's where I get a lot of the inspiration and motivation from, and the kind of darkness and accepting mortality, I guess.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
So there's a lot of people are like, it's evil, but I don't really see it as like evil stuff. I mean, it's just life and death things, and it's more, I guess, a somber, a melancholy type of thing, you know. I guess where it comes from with me.
Yeah. See, as somebody, because you know, I've always, because you know, like I've kind of growing up in the situations I grew up in, and like kind of the struggles that I faced when I was going to the surgery and whatnot. Like I thought a lot about it, you know. I have like very like minor like thoughts of like just ending it, but like nothing like ever coming to fruition. Obviously, it's why I'm still here. But like, I think through all that, like I've kind of just like, cause you know, when you're a kid, you know, you're like, you know, when you'll die. It's like, oh. What? But like, I kind of like really early on, because you know, like a lot of people I know like around here that I went to high school with, are like very like death fearing, you know, and like I kind of accepted it like at a very early age, like, well, yeah, it's gonna happen, no shit, so go out and do all your shit.
And it's a different tone too than a lot of bands, because a lot of bands that talk about death, it's not necessarily about that. It's the more brutality of it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got like me.
Yeah, whereas the feelings and stuff that I get from Coffin Hoarder are more of a not sorrowful, but I guess just melancholy, you know, just about that, you know. And it's definitely different from what people usually do in the scene, which makes it pop out a lot more.
Yeah, like the part we used for the intro for from Wendigo, like that part is like really dark, and, like really somber, and like it just has like that like feeling of like you're like walking in like this like dark room, you have like no idea, like, or like an abandoned house or like a cemetery. It's like really foggy, and you have no idea what the fuck you are, and you're like, holy shit. Like that's what I feel in that, and I like that shit. Like with Blightcaster, like I remember listening to them, and like that reminded me like just like being naked in like a barren, dark wasteland.
Kind of
like,
very haunting.
and just like walking endlessly and being like, where the fuck am I? Or like fuck, even with like Asylum, that with because you know they recently put out that full length album, the Spectacle Incantation song, like that whole like riff leading up to like the solo is like very. It's like kind of like the same thing. Feels makes you feel like I'm like in a straitjacket and I'm like running down the asylum.
And that's one thing that I like about a lot of about bands is when they can get you in a certain feeling, like when they can evoke certain things from you.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of bands, you know, oh yeah, I'd love to headbang to it and stuff like that, but to really draw out emotion, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's especially metal, you know. I mean, it's kind of it's just kind of, you know, like you said, you know, focus more on the brutality of it, or kind of like the I guess a novelty of death, you know, more in like a horror sense. And I guess some of my stuff kind of edges on that, you know, like I'm definitely inspired by horror movies, I guess, through some of the art and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, to actually true feeling or genuine, a more genuine thing, you know, yeah, that doesn't come out very often, you know, in heavy music. I mean, it does. I mean, I'm sure, you know, there's so many bands nowadays. Like
Yeah,
that, you know, but you know, you don't.
Scene, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and locally, it's I feel a little bit more rare, but then again, sometimes it's hard to hear every single local band out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. Yeah.
But you know, like Nargaroth for me is a band where it's kind of hit or miss, but the ones that I really like are the ones that bring out a lot of emotion in me, you know, and so I think that's something that our scene lacks, which I think is pretty cool that you're able to do, and people enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool. That's people do that.
The two things I think the scene lacks are the number of actual thrash metal bands and what you just said too. We're good on death metal. Believe you me. We got death metal for years. DMC just put out a new album and god damn, it's amazing. It's so good. I had Torn Apart by Wolves on repeat on the whole day today. The song's just wild. But going back to the somber feelings and stuff, kind of remind me of a movie. It was a horror movie, kind of a horror movie, but more like a suspense movie back, I believe, in the 40s or the 50s, called The Cat People.
Oh yeah.
And there's this scene where the woman is like walking alone in like a street, and like she's like looking behind herself, and like after she does it, they go to the shot of the empty street, and like the little light and whatnot, like the buildings that are dark, that are like closed, and like the lights around her sight, and like they keep doing the takes, like her like, you know, like kind of like, you know, bringing up her sweater and then looking back in, like picking up her pace and like looking back, and then you see the barren street again, and like that was like one of the first like scenes in horror that was like, holy shit, what's out there? What is she afraid of? And they didn't show it.
Right.
And it was so
captures that atmosphere, yeah. That's why I just mentioned that, yeah. It's like I try to, I don't know, I guess for a lot of my stuff I try to have a cinematic quality to it, to more, you know, because it's really, you know, it doesn't really, you know, I play live, I like to play live. If anybody invites me out, you know, I definitely will try my best to make it out to it, you know, just honored for any show that I get, you know, but the purpose of the music, I guess, isn't necessarily for a live setting, but to mainly capture that, capture a feeling, you know, listening in a dark room, and kind of like a film score or something, you know, you know, yeah, and that's what it's always kind of been, I suppose, so, yeah.
I remember seeing you at the Sacrilegious show, And like I was hyping everyone up. Like, you need to get in there. You need to see Coffin Hoarder. You need to see Hal play. He's gonna take on a fucking wild ass ride. I try to get everyone in that motherfucker. And people are like, oh, I want to grab a beer. I'm like, grab a beer and get the fuck in there. And then I remember like Carlos ran up in there, like right up in front. I started heavy. I'm like, fuck yeah! Like I went up there too.
Yeah, the crowd response, that I have, man, the people that dig it, man, I certainly appreciate it. I'm glad to see everybody out. Just surprising. It's just something, I never meant, music I make for myself, And,
yeah, of course.
And I wouldn't give a fuck. I mean, people don't want to fucking listen to it. I don't fucking care, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, because
I do see people.
Because
the
first thing that's most important is you got to make sure that you like the stuff that you write. Because if you don't like the stuff that you write, then like you have a very low standard of it. Then you're like, great, and then like you'll probably make people feel that way too. That's kind of why we've retweaked some of our songs so many times, was because we know we could have done better. We didn't want to seem vapid.
Right.
So, but, then again, it's thrash metal, so, like, how overly childish can it be, especially after the lineup I have.
Right.
But I mean, like, but another thing to note, and I think it's very important to note when we have these bands on, is that you were around, right when Deep Ellum was basically dead. And then as it picked up.
That type of thing, I don't like to get into that with people too much because I don't think Deep Ellum ever really went away. It's just ebbs and flows. I remember my first show, certainly you compare it to the way it was back in the 90s when I was a kid. When I was probably about like 10 or 11, I had cool folks, man. And I told them, I was like, hey, I want to see a show. And they were like, it's like, okay, well, all right. Well, where does local music go on? And they're like, Deep Ellum, I'm not even sure they really knew what they were getting into, but, Deep Ellum, mid-90s, and we go down there and the streets are packed, and it was definitely this crazy thing, or maybe it's perception, and maybe it wasn't too different, I don't know, but I was a kid, but, I remember I was at my first show ever was at the old Galaxy Club. And it was, who was it that was there? It was a Hellified Funk Crew and like Pimpadelic or something like that. And like, it was like, I don't know, I'm down to see a show, and then they took me there. And so I don't know, but I remember that was just like, it was crazy. Like there's a lot of people there, and then, over time, going there throughout high school, it ebbs and flows, it just sometimes not so much. Clubs shut down and open back up, it's just one of the Deep Ellum, just one of those things that it just goes, it reincarnates.
Yeah, ever evolving.
So it's ever evolving, and I guess for metal, I don't know, I couldn't say, but I think metal in Dallas has always been a thing. It's just not necessarily confined to Deep Ellum all the time, but I think it's found a really good home there now.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because clubs like Reno's and Wits End and which I kind of saw, is kind of dead, but I don't want to say dead because I remember, playing in my other band, Hopeless Wellness, when I was in that, there was times when it would pack out, man. It was busy, and, playing with my son, my Executioner, and Hey Tyler, and stuff, man,
Yeah, one of his albums.
Yeah, and just so it's I like to say it was ever dead. Yeah, it's just.
But I guess I was just trying to go with like seeing it like evolve and like.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved. Well, I've seen a lot of the changes. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like I don't. Like throughout the years, I wouldn't. Clump myself in with the scene or anything because I'm on the outside of it. Because I did hardly go to shows like compared to a lot of people. Because responsibilities and just
adulting.
But adulting and just mainly I'm isolationist by nature anyways. But when I do make it down, I've been there throughout the years. So yeah, it changes, man. But for better or worse, it's I think Deep Ellum probably always be there.
All right, and I have a question.
Yeah.
With your setup at your house, and how does it differ from your setup when you're playing a show?
Oh, I mean, not so much. I mean, I have a PA system that I use at my house, you know, and kind of mix my stuff on to kind of get an idea of what like the bass response and stuff might be for some of the drums, or if it's going to sound cluttered or muddy.
Okay.
But you know, basically, you know, I'm just subject to whatever I show up and it facilitates. It doesn't. And luckily, most of my shows have been at, you know, Reno's and you know, yeah, Chris down there running sound most of the time, and he does a hell of a job making it sound pretty good. So it's, I guess compared to home, you know, it's better. You know, I mean, but I make it work at home. So yeah, I try to adapt. That's the only thing. You know, I guess one of the fears I run into is like I'm going to show up at a Force show and they're not going to have what I need. But you know, but you know, like the first show I did as this, you know, I was playing more grind stuff, man, and just heavier, which I'm probably going to re-release all that stuff. And a lot of people out there that came onto this project, they know the demo from the grind stuff. But anyways, when I first started playing, they didn't have anything for me to plug the drums into, so I was using like a combo amp that had 2 inputs, and like I just did that, and it sounded like shit. But you know, hey, I got the job done, and but yeah. So that's always a tricky thing.
I can't really super relate, but in college, my roommate and I did a thing together, and you know, we didn't have a drummer, we didn't have someone to do separate bass or another guitar. So there was a couple times where the college had like open mic nights or whatever, and so we would go down, and I'd have to bring my laptop, and I would do a special track that just had what we needed on it. I'm trying to play it through a PA speaker.
Yeah.
And sometimes it wasn't loud enough for me to hear or something, and so I had a hard time keeping time, and so I would have to stop and listen real quick, then start playing again. And so for me, I feel like it could be somewhat complicated to try to set all that stuff up. I mean, even though you're the only person, it's also kind of you're the only person.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do all of that yourself. And you know what you're wanting, and you're having to work with what you have to make it. You know, it just seems like it could be frustrating at times.
Oh, it can. You know, you definitely got to take time to. It takes time to, especially when you're writing and trying to get it ready. So putting the music together and then figuring out how you set it up later on. And then with playing the show, setting that by yourself, I mean, it's like you gotta, coordinate a little bit differently. It's not like you tell the drummer, hey, whenever you're done with that, come help me grab it, or just sit down and singer, or something, But yeah, there's that.
All right, and do you play? Like, do you have a drum kit, or do you do your own electronic drums?
I program all this stuff mostly. I mean, I have a drum kit. I'm not really that good of a player, but that comes from my background from doing a lot of electronic music when I was
that industrial kind of.
Yeah, when I was in high school, like programming synthesizers and drum machines and stuff, and but I never. The technology has gotten to the point to where you want it to sound like real drums when you're playing more rock type music, and but now it's awesome because there's programs out there you can hybrid everything. It's like I want to have a real sounding kit, but I also want to have like this really crazy sounding machine sound in the background. But yeah, all that comes from that, so I programmed all my drums through FL Studio and Easy Drummer tune tracks, like Easy Drummer.
Really, FL?
Yeah, and then I put it, through Cubase.
Okay.
And add all my other stuff in, strings, synths, whatever I'm using into that. And, it's just how it's been working for me. And then, I bounce everything down. I mean, some people, well, why don't you use your computer and stuff live? And it's like, well, if it breaks, I'm screwed. But so I bounce everything down, and they're like, well, why don't you use an iPod? It's like, no, I don't want to use an iPod either, or a phone, or whatever. So I have this old digital 8-track.
Hey, man, that
recorder,
works.
And I dump it into that. So if something happens, it's like, yeah, fuck it. Just buy another one for really cheap, and the show keeps rolling. And,
the song Head Split Shot actually came from Nick using Easy Drummer, and we just all, he gave us all a CD and we all learned it, or they all learned it, and I learned where to put the vocals in. And I mean, shit, sometimes it's just a really efficient way to write music, man. Like, if you have any ideas and you know how to program it, you can just fucking just go in there and just boom, 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 boom.
That's what I did for all of our songs back in college. Was I just used the whatever was on the program we had was called Mixcraft.
Yep.
And so we just used the drums off of that, and just made either loops or for certain things make it a little bit more unique. But it's a lot of tedious work.
Yeah.
Because you're not just doing one instrument, you're doing multiple instruments as well as all the effects and the background stuff, and it's a lot of stuff to put it all together.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask was, I remember you talking about a new project that you had coming down the line. How's that going for you?
Pretty good, man. It's like right now I'm just kind of stepping away. I mean, like I said before, if I get offered shows, I'm trying my best to make them plan, but kind of haven't really been going on my way lately because I'm trying to sit down and regroup and write, just write some new things. And so I guess I'm working on that project, Race and Woe. That's more based around acoustic stuff and no drums or anything involved. I used a lot of I have an EP, I guess, that's out already that I did a couple of years ago, but I never was going to promote it or anything. But like I said, I do a lot of things out of boredom, and so I put it out. And that's mainly, I sampled a lot of radio noise, some choir sounds and stuff like that, and just, I guess kind of a fugue state, just playing, acoustic guitar and stuff over, and that's just more, atmosphere, and then vocals is more, depressive type things. But as far as another Coffin Hoarder record goes, it's like I really want to do one because but I want to put more into it, it's like I want to put more thought into it, just see where I go with it. I've been kicking around some ideas. I released kind of like a demo reel of some ideas I've been working on. I'm not sure if that's really the direction it's going to go in, but when I have something good to go, because the last time I really liked, I sent it off to Topon Das from Fuck the Facts. He mastered it and he did some of the arrangements on it, and I really want to work with him again on the next thing, but I just want to get something that's really worth.
Coffin Hoarder CD release show?
Something solid.
Yeah, well, as far as CD release shows go, I mean, maybe I'll get something actually printed and put together. But the way everything goes nowadays, I mean, it's awesome if you can do the CD. I'm not discrediting CDs and stuff. Spending the money on it, having an actual thing. I mean, it's great. But for me, if I'm going to put something out, it's like I like to do DIY. Like I just go to Walmart and buy some CDRs and print stuff out, glue it together, and that's the CD. But I have thought about actually getting printing, or if I could find a label out there that I would want to do something like that, or get vinyls made. Where everything's moving is more towards right now. It's moving back to vinyl. So, which CDs are great, but but everybody wants a vinyl now. There's a rather pricey to get that done.
Oh yeah.
So backing would be great if anybody out there hears it, likes it, wants to help me out with that. That would be great.
Yeah, he's been here in the scene for a long fucking time. Hook this dude up.
Yeah.
Let's get it rolling.
Getting up on close to 20 years.
Yeah, well, as far as me doing this project, it hasn't. I've been involved.
But you've
been, but I've been around. I've been doing. I guess close to 20 years of my old bands. So goddamn, I'm old. I'm getting there, but yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, I know for me, man, I'm always thankful for bands. Like, I've actually had the criticism of being an ass kisser, apparently.
No, you can be an ass kisser for sure.
I'm sorry that I promote our fucking local scene a lot.
No, man, I think you're doing a good thing, man. It gives it more depth and a way for people to connect, and thank you for having me on, man. I thought it was really cool. You asked me to do this because I've never been asked really. You know, I mean, if you're lucky, you know, you get asked to go in the dungeon, you know, hit 9.3 and things like that. You know, and that's awesome. But you know, there's really not a lot of things other than that going on. So I mean, you're facilitating something to the audience, of people that actually come out to the shows and want you know, a deeper connection with the bands, and I think that's cool you're doing, man. So thanks for having me on.
No, dude, thanks for coming on, guys.
No problem, man.
Guys, we appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Why don't you throw out the link where people can like where can people hear your music, guys?
Like your Bandcamp.
Oh yeah, it's just, you know, coffinhoarder.bandcamp.com. If you're interested, you know, you can go check that out. You know, Facebook, you know, Necessary Evils, I guess nowadays. I guess if you want to have your music out there, but yeah, so go check it out, or just hit me up on Facebook, Hal Wagner, you know, and say what's up. So yeah, man, awesome.
Got any future shows planned so far in the writings?
So far not, you know, like I said, you know, just working on things, you know, trying to develop some new sounds and stuff. Yeah.
All right, well, we heard it here first. If this man ever does come up any other shows, we will promote it on the fucking page for sure. Hey guys, thank you again so much for watching. This has been DFW Metal Mayhem.
What song are you playing?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna run through some things.
Okay, cool. All right, that's cool. I just wanted to, if we knew what the song was, I wanted to say what it was, but I guess we can just throw it on there.
You'll find out what it is at the end of the episode. Yes. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week, where we will bring on a pretty awesome band. I think you already know who I'm talking about. We're not going to get into it any further from there.
Yeah.
See you guys later.